Now for some actual thinking. There are differences between the World War II generation and the Afghan and Iraq generation. And we've had this astonishing statistic that 30% of people who served in Iraq and Afghanistan suffer from PTSD. And I've got some thoughts about that because mostly it has to do with watching people you got killed and people you killed yourself and you got blown up and so you saw gore. And there seems to be this narrative that you actually saw somebody in your unit get killed. So, and I'm trying to understand it. I'm not trying to downplay it. Because I've been watching all these stories about guys who got a new dog, a service dog, because it makes them feel like they're part of a military unit again. And the thing is, all right, let's talk about the real differences. In my father's case, he was a fighter pilot. You're always on your own. You always are. You are up there all alone, and then you die or you don't. And guess what? Most of them did. My father left Thunderbird with 6 guys, and he was the only one who came home. They all died. And in actual service. He was used to the fact that people got killed. Well, and what you hear about all these other guys is the ones who are suffering from PTSD is oh, somebody in their unit died, and this killed them. Well, okay. My dad came from a generation where he was waiting for war to happen, right? He flunked out of Cornell in order to be ready to go serve, because they all knew that Pearl Harbor was going to happen. I know you don't believe that, but it's they knew it was going to happen. And it happened, and then they joined up, and he went, and they threatened to wash him out if a cufflink could bounce off his bed. But, they obeyed all the rules, and they got in there, and they hated the Army the whole time they were in it. Because they were civilians, right? They were not guys who were planning to be professional soldiers, which is what you always see in these other guys. It's they surround themselves with flags, and that they wear T-shirts with stars and stripes and all this sort of stuff. And the big beef seems to be that they're not actually in the military anymore. Which is why my dad painted in his flight jacket. He splashed it on himself deliberately, because he was a civilian pilot who happened to be working for the U.S. Army Air Corps. My dad actually rooted for Navy in Army Navy games because he hated the Army so much. Second thing. They came back from World War II, and they had all been exposed to terrible danger. But they were 10 million of them. And they never talked to each other about it. It was where were you? It was oh, I was here. I was I was there. It's I was in Africa. I was in France. I was in, Iwo. And the idea was that they were just there to do the job that they were now doing. And it's like they knew from each other that they could trust each other to tell the truth. That's all. I mean, it was not like sob stories. And you know, I look at this Dogs at War series and I see all these guys who are like just looking for every excuse to give up. Because that's the narrative. We have like nothing but documentaries about, oh my God, they like lost a limb. Okay, oh God, blah, blah. They lost everything. It's like, uh-oh, they hurt. Well, yeah, they all hurt. The only time I ever saw my dad hurt about World War II was when he'd had like 2 martinis. Because, well, in the Dogs at War series, there's this guy who's like got this dog who like saved his life, and his wife is like, yeah, the dog saved his life. And it's like, really? They missed their unit. And I guess there's the difference. It's like my dad was in the part of the war that had the highest casualties, and they were never actually in the unit. They were like guys who were all alone, and my dad used to say there were times when the flak was so bad that you said, okay, I am dead. I am dead already. And I just have to keep flying because that's my job, my duty, right? So, and you get this sense from a lot of these guys, like with the beards and the sad eyes and all, that they never understood that part. You signed up to die. You signed up to die. And now they're asking you to die. Oh, guess what? They took your friend. My dad went from Thunderbird with 6 guys. He was the only one who came home. The only one. And he got over it. He got over it. It was a different time. I mean, now we've got like fragile guys that we're sending out. They're the best equipped. They're the best trained. They're wonderful. They're brave. But nothing has prepared them. Nothing has prepared them for what my dad's whole generation was prepared for. It's like, yeah, we'll go. We'll die. It's okay. And then we'll come home and we will like pick up our lives because we saved our wives and girlfriends and our children. It's like, and here we are. Pretty simple.